All right, y'all. So a friend of mine named Bree, she gave me a good topic, and she wanted to know: is there such thing as meeting the right person, but at the wrong time? And the answer to that is pretty cut and dry. I mean, yes. I mean that's the case a lot of times because I've been seeing this a lot on social media lately about how a lot of people are looking for their soulmate if you really believe in such a stuff if you really believe in such a thing. But basically, this is pretty cut and dry. How a lot of people, their soulmate or their Mr. Right or Mrs. Right or whatever the case might be, is been right in front of them the whole time. They could have been a good friend of them. They could have met in high school. They could have, you might have actually had a connection with them earlier on, but you might have grew apart. You might have found somebody else, or something else along those lines could have happened to where you guys didn't take that next step. And a lot of people might kind of hold a grudge against them because of that. It might be because they might be dating someone else, or they might have been busy with work or school or something else going on in their life, and they might say to themselves, "Well, they didn't want me back then, so why do they want me now?" I mean, that does happen, but some people grow, some people change, some people learn, and whether you can deal with that or not, that's entirely on you. I mean, like I said, some people have found their soulmate years later. Like some people, like it probably could be somebody who you thought was a dork or ugly or unattractive back in high school or whatever. Then you meet them 10 years later, or they reintroduce yourself to them 10 years later, and they're a whole new person. Then all of a sudden you're like, huh, I never saw that side of them before. I mean, I've sort of kind of went through that recently or whatever. I mean, with this person who I sort of have known ever since we were young. But the thing is, and it's like, man, I never saw them that way before. They're attractive to me now, or at least, I mean, the thing is, they've always been cool, but they've never really they never really have appealed to me that way before. And a lot of people, the thing is, like I said, when you grow and when you learn and when you get older, your tastes kind of change because, like, you see a lot of these girls these days, they want them a thug, they want them a gangbanger, they want them a hood nigga or whatever, or some of these dudes, they be wanting the cheerleader type of girls, they be wanting the popular girls, but then when they grow up, they realize that all that glitter ain't gold. They want somebody who's low key, somebody who's responsible. They want somebody who's they want somebody who's a little bit who fits their taste right now. And a lot of people say that you shouldn't look for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. You should only look for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right now, because what you might find attractive right now, you might not find attractive 5 or 10 years down the road. And then it's the complete opposite. It's the other way around too. Some people who you might not find attractive back then, you might think that they're attractive now. And then the same people who you thought were attractive back then, you look at them like right now and you're like, well, man, what the hell was I thinking? And that's the case for a lot of people who I was attracted to back in high school, especially now that they've gotten older and they've popped out a few babies and they got on drugs and everything. It's going to be the same thing with some of these hood niggas that a lot of these women find attractive now after they've been to jail multiple times, after they done, pretty much ran through. This is something that I could talk about all day long, but I just want to give y'all my little 2 cents. And thanks for the response, by the way, Bray. But as far as there being the right person at the wrong time, I really do believe that there is such thing as the right person at the wrong time. So, fellas and ladies, for y'all people who are still looking for your Prince Charming or your Cinderella, think about it. They could have been right in front of you the whole time and you never knew it. But that's pretty much my 2 cents on it, y'all. Thank y'all for listening.